In southeast Kansas, an archaeological dig is underway to uncover new clues in a century-old murder mystery. Students from KU are trying to learn more about the Bender family and the victims they left behind on the Kansas frontier. KCTV5's Zach Summers traveled to the spot where it all started so many years ago and explains this renewed interest in the life and disappearance of the Bloody Benders.
They disappeared more than 150 years ago. Still, to this day, their murderous deeds continue to fascinate. This is the story of the Bloody Benders and the ongoing effort to unearth new details about America's first serial killer family.
I'm Lee Ralph, the author of Hell Comes to Play.
Kansas native Lee Ralph first learned of the Benders in school, but only recently started digging into the family's history.
I just love mysteries in general.
His new book reveals new secrets about the family of four, including tracing their lineage back to Germany before their devilish spree in Labette County in the early 1870s.
We really don't know why they came to Kansas.
It was inside this cabin along the Osage Mission Trail in southeastern Kansas. John Bender Sr., his wife, their son John Jr., and daughter Kate are said to have carried out their devious acts.
I think something happened while they were out there on the prairie. I think something triggered.
Kate, a spiritualist, would distract guests stopping in for a meal or goods. Waiting behind a curtain that divided the cabin, another family member. They would bludgeon the victim across the head with a hammer, ultimately slitting their throat for the victim to bleed out in the cellar below.
It may have started in pure robbery and then morphed into something a bit more twisted.
It's believed the Benders would have continued their twisted reign of terror had they not killed a prominent doctor and brother of a Kansas state senator.
When Dr. York went missing, he was somebody to be missed. His brother, the senator, he had the wherewithal to perform a thorough search.
That extensive search wouldn't lead to justice. The Benders were long gone before search of their property uncovered up to 8 bodies, all men buried naked, face down, one with an infant daughter who was likely buried alive.
So as long as you keep your walls nice and straight. My name is Lauren Norman. I'm an assistant teaching professor at the University of Kansas.
Dr. Laura Norman is leading a group of KU archaeology and anthropology students, excavating a site believed to be the Bender homestead. They're trying to find evidence of where the house was and other materials that might fact-check some of the myths surrounding the elusive family.
It's never been looked at through a scientific lens, the material culture of the things they left behind, and so we're hoping to add a little bit to the story.
Color, white.
The team has already found pieces of pottery, glass, a horseshoe, and parts of a tin can. Norman says it's a slow process.
10 days of digging is going to give us 10 months of analysis work. We won't really get a good understanding of them until we take them back to our lab.
What do you think that would lead to?
An understanding Bob Miller has a vested interest in.
I'm Bob Miller, the property owner of the Bender farm.
Miller bought the 160-acre property in 2020 with the sole purpose of learning more about the Benders and their victims.
Are there even other bodies out here? Just huge intrigue.
He's hoping the mystery might also spur tourism to southeastern Kansas.
We're just getting a lot of interest from all different sources, what the Benders did it and how they did it and what happened to them, where'd they go.
While we may never know the end to the infamous Bloody Benders, Lee says it's that mystery that has kept their story alive well over a century and counting.
I just have a feeling there's so much more that we don't know about them. The archaeological dig out there. I think that it is just the stepping stone for further research.
In Labette County, Kansas, Zach Summers, KCTV5 News.
And since our visit to the Bender site, researchers have conducted more geophysical surveys to detect the differences in the ground surface for future dig sites. The goal is to continue to investigate that same property over the next several years.